Welcome to this explainer. Listen, I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're breaking down a moment that literally just turned the entire basketball world upside down. I mean, picture this. It's 1 year after finally climbing to the top of the NBA mountain, and a championship team decides to just blow up its core. And not because their players were aging, right? Not because of some messy locker room dispute. No, they willingly traded away one of the absolute best perimeter defenders in the league, a guy who was instrumental to their title run. Today, we're unpacking the Blockbuster July 2026 three-team trade that absolutely nobody saw coming. So here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, the shocking Blockbuster. 2, why the Thunder traded Lu Dort. 3, Atlanta bets on winning now. 4, Dallas gambles on high potential. And 5, who truly won this trade? Let's jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this because this is the central mystery that has everyone, and I mean everyone, completely baffled. Why on earth would the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that literally just proved they have the exact right championship formula, willingly let go of Lu Dort? We're talking about a guy who takes the toughest, most grueling defensive assignment every single night. To really understand how crazy this is, we have to look at exactly what happened when the trade calls went through. Section 1, the shocking Blockbuster. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how clearly this absolute chaos breaks down. Because this wasn't some minor swap of bench players. This was a seismic shift involving a reigning champion, a former #1 overall pick, and future draft capital. The Atlanta Hawks walked away with Lu Dort and a young point guard, Ryan Membard. The Dallas Mavericks landed the 2024 #1 overall pick, Zaccharie Risacher. And the Oklahoma City Thunder? Well, they walked away with 3 second-round picks. At first glance, looking at the Thunder's haul, it makes absolutely no sense to trade proven championship-level talent for second-round picks. Unless, of course, this trade was never actually about today. Section 2. Why the Thunder traded Lu Dort. To really grasp this calculated decision, you have to understand the player they just gave up. It's an incredible story, really. In 2019, Lu Dort went completely undrafted. Every single team passed on him. He had to fight for his absolute survival in the league on a two-way contract, right? But he earned his spot by willingly guarding superstars. We're talking LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry. By 2025, he wasn't just a starter, he was an all-defensive first-team selection and a crucial part of the Thunder's championship journey next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. He wasn't their superstar scorer, but he was their defensive anchor. So his sudden departure in 2026, truly shocking. But here is the financial shock and awe that explains the whole shebang. $200 million. Let that sink in. By moving Lu Dort, along with Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins this offseason, the Thunder shed over $200 million in payroll and tax obligations. Actually, looking closely at the reports, it's nearly $224 million in total savings, with over $82 million in luxury tax savings coming from the Dort trade alone. And this brings us to the dense but absolutely vital economics of the NBA cap. Have you heard of the second tax apron? Basically, it's a highly restrictive threshold. If you cross it, you don't just pay a huge pile of money. You actually lose the ability to build your roster. It's like financial handcuffs. Championship teams get expensive really fast. So with massive, massive contracts looming for their young core, the Thunder desperately needed cap flexibility. They simply couldn't afford to get trapped. This perfectly illustrates Thunder general manager Sam Presti's unemotional, highly calculated philosophy. Rather than just letting Dort walk by declining his team option, they picked it up and traded him. Why? To generate a massive $17.7 million trade exception and acquire future assets. Presti's strategy is all about sustaining success and never ever letting emotion ruin long-term planning. By clearing this cap space, they've completely opened the runway for younger, cheaper talents on their roster. Guys like Cason Wallace and Ajay Mitchell, to step up and take on more responsibility. Section 3, Atlanta bets on winning now. So, on the flip side, why was Atlanta so willing to pull the plug on a player they drafted #1 overall just 2 years ago? Well, it all comes down to the perceived value of youth versus the desperate, immediate need for battle-tested veterans. Risacher definitely has long-term, untapped potential, but the Hawks, who are built around Trae Young, are entirely in a win-now mindset, and they desperately needed elite perimeter defense to cover for Trae. Young players aren't always untouchable when a team wants to win immediately. Dort brings an instant championship mentality and a lockdown defensive pedigree that Atlanta just couldn't pass up. Look at how brilliantly Atlanta fortified their rotation here. They instantly pair a 27-year-old elite wing defender in Dort with Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. On top of that, they grabbed Ryan Nembhard, a young guard who posted a fantastic 37.2% assist rate as a rookie in Dallas. But here's the real kicker for Atlanta. Despite adding this immediate win-now talent, they surprisingly kept their financial books wide open. They're projected to have over $40 million in cap space next summer. That is a huge win. Section 4. Dallas gambles on high potential. Now let's move this explainer over to Texas to see how the Dallas Mavericks capitalized on all this multi-team chaos. They stepped into this trade with a totally different goal. We really have to talk about Zaccharie Risacher's trajectory and the stark sophomore slump that caused Atlanta to completely lose faith. Check this out. In his first year, he was the Rookie of the Year runner-up, averaging 12.6 points per game. But last season, his production dips to 9.6 points and 3.8 rebounds. By the time the 2026 playoffs rolled around, his role had completely shrunk. He was playing a mere 7.7 minutes per game across 3 appearances. Atlanta gave up on him, sure, but that perfectly set up a massive buy low opportunity for Dallas. And honestly, we have to appreciate the absolute cap magic pulled off by the Dallas front office here. Dallas used a $20.8 million traded player exception to just absorb Richardson's salary. They didn't even have to send matching money back to Atlanta. The funny thing? That exception was generated from an Anthony Davis trade they made with the Washington Wizards earlier in the offseason. It's literally like finding a $20 bill in your winter coat, but, in this case, it buys you a former #1 overall draft pick. Just incredible. Let's move to and see how this builds into head coach Dusty May's strategic plan for the Mavericks. Step 1 is retooling the entire roster around their new superstar, reigning Rookie of the Year, Cooper Flagg. Step 2 is unlocking Risacher. Dallas firmly believes that just like Andrew Wiggins or Lauri Markkanen, Risacher is a player whose immense talent is just going to explode with a change of scenery. And step 3 is the business side. They have until October 31st to decide on his $17.4 million club option for the following year. It is a low-risk, insanely high-reward gamble for them. Section 5. Who truly won this trade? Bringing it all together, let's look at the breakdown. The Thunder gained massive financial freedom and extended their championship window. But the con? They lost elite defense and locker room leadership. The Hawks got an immediate playoff-ready roster upgrade, but they sacrificed the long-term upside of a former #1 pick. And the Mavericks acquired a player with a massive ceiling for practically nothing, but the con there is that Risacher's development remains totally uncertain. The core takeaway here is actually pretty fascinating. Every single team accomplished their highly specific, yet completely different franchise goals. NBA history rarely judges trades immediately. Sometimes the real winner isn't known for years. Maybe Lu Dort is exactly the missing piece Atlanta needs to make a deep run. Maybe Risacher becomes a legitimate superstar in Dallas. Or maybe Oklahoma City quietly wins another ring because they were smart enough to plan ahead. What looked like a simple transaction on the wire might just become one of the defining NBA decisions of this entire decade. So I leave you with this question to chew on. 5 years from today, who do you think will be proven right? Who truly won this blockbuster trade? Let me know your predictions in the comments below. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.